Right, hi guys. As you might know, I've been promising for a couple of weeks now to show kind of my new home studio recording setup thing. A couple of different people have asked in different places just some advice on kind of what do you need to get started, so hopefully I can cover that a little bit in this video. So as ever, let's start off downstairs and see what's the crack down there. Okay guys, so here we are in the infamous quilted room of doom. Yeah, basically this is my very cheap soundproofing. Well, it's not soundproofing because obviously quilts aren't actually soundproof. So what it actually does is it basically, as you can hear, it sounds a little strange in this room because there's no reflection, or very few reflections of the sound bouncing off the walls and the roof and everything like that. Normally in a normal room when you speak or whatever, your voice gets fired back at you from like 1,000 different places from the wall there, and it bounces off that wall and it just keeps going round perpetually, potentially forever. Let's not get into a physics lesson, but yeah, potentially theory is your sound voice just goes on and on and on forever and it never actually stops. Yeah, theory lesson over. So I did that just for better recording of vocals, a drier recording of vocals and guitars. So there's my Hughes and Kettner 4x12 EC412, cheap kind of Marshall cab. I need to replace the speakers in this, but I've actually found it has a really great clean sound. And what I did was I took a chunk out the back to make it into like an open back cab so I can mic up from behind. So this is where all the guitar parts and the majority of the vocal parts for any songs that are requiring vocals get recorded. And these cables lead up the wall through this hole past the Christmas decorations of death. Seriously, they nearly kill me every year. Through the hole and upstairs. So let's head out that way now. Oh, that's just me turning the light off. Can't see anything. Out of the door in. Oh god. My mum and my brother just love dumping all of their shit here. Past all of the Budweiser, because the key to a good mix is a good beer, and of course Pepsi. So I'd say that's just like a collection of vinyl, a couple of music DVDs, magazines, etc. there. So these are where are they? Oh, there's some missing there. These are the mics that I have. I don't have many because I don't really need many, to be honest. I've got this sort of stereo pair of AKG Perception 150s. are just small diaphragm condensers. They work great in the time I want to stereo mic something like an acoustic guitar sometimes, and I've never tried these on my guitar cab. I don't think they'll be that suitable, but they work great as drum overheads live. Obviously the ubiquitous Shure SM57, of course, for miking up guitars and if I ever need to do any work with brass or anything. And as I did a quick review before, the SE Electronics X1, the Sex one, large condenser mic, which now gets used on every vocal take I do, pretty much anyway, unless I'm using another mic for effect, but every vocal take. And it also works absolutely great on hi-hats when we've recorded hi-hats. And I have got, I don't know where it's gone, I've got another cheaper Red 5 Audio RV6 large condenser mic, which now I haven't used it for a while, to be honest, now that I've got the Sex one. I do sometimes use it on my guitar cab, but at the moment I've just been single micing again with the 57 and getting the sound I quite like. So upstairs, following those wires that came out the wall. Apologies for the mess. I'm still not 100% happy up here. I'm still not 100% tidy. There's a couple of wires to move and stuff like that. There's a cheap keyboard, a Casio keyboard I use. 2 seconds, I'll put the light on. Cheap keyboard I use just for triggering MIDI sounds inside my DAW, my acoustic guitar, various other guitars, bass guitar, mandolin, banjo, etc. into the room. Sorry, those wires have come up over here, and that orange one there goes into the back of the head for the speaker downstairs, and the other ones follow around the back of the room, around here, past the hamster of extreme smell, and into this Tascam US 1641 interface. So as you'll see, I'm now running a mixerless system. I much prefer it this way. It was great to kind of use a mixer for you know, mixing signals coming in, but with a little bit of extra work I can do all of that on this, and it takes up a lot less room. It's a lot less setting up time, etc, etc. So that's it. At the minute I'm running no outboards. That's an old broken Behringer compressor. I'm running no outboards, but I am actually in the market for some. I'm looking for some extra tube or valve based preamps to warm up vocal sounds more, and possibly a compressor as well for tracking. Yeah, so then we go into my computer, which was kind of like custom assembled by a local shop. Oh sorry, monitors I'm using are just KRK Rocket RP5s. They are pretty good. I wish they had a bit of extra bass, so I'm considering buying a sub as well and hooking that up somehow, but that'll be a while in the future because I'm skint. It runs in this computer. Here's the specs if anyone's interested. Quad core AMD Phenom at each core 2.6 gig, and I'm running 4 gig of RAM, but of course XP, well, 32-bit systems don't recognise 4 gig. The most I've got it recognises 3.25. I wish I could have 4, even, well, the more RAM the better, you know what I mean. I wish I could run about 6, but it's just going to be too expensive to upgrade to a 64-bit system. So I'm running Acid Pro 7, again, long time fan of Acid Pro. It was one of the first programs I've used. I tried using Cubase, Sonar. I actually really liked Sonar, and I've run Logic on a Mac before, but since I can't afford a Mac system, basically this is the next best thing for me because it's so intuitive and friendly to use, and there's a lot of like cool features that some other DAWs have only just started to have. Acid's always been great for looping capabilities and stuff like that. I mean, I don't use loops a lot, but I don't know, just seeing everything's kind of there and I'm used to it now. There's no real reason for me to change DAW, to be honest, but if I did change, it would probably be over to Sonar. Yeah, so I record at, as you can see here, at a sample rate of 44,100 Hz, kind of standard, and at 16-bit. I've recorded a few projects at 24-bit, but we had a discussion recently, when you're recording kind of rock and metal music, you don't really need that dynamic range, to be honest, because you never really play that quiet in rock or metal. So for me, there was no difference in sound quality. I don't claim to be a pro, but I heard no difference. So that's about it. Obviously I've got quite a few different plugins and stuff like that, some decent reverbs and delays, and there's also a lot of good free ones out there. Just ask if you want any tips on looking for good free VSTs, software, synths and instruments and effects and stuff like that. But yeah, as you can see, it's actually a really simple setup, to be honest. It's basically just the rack as an interface into a decent PC. It's not the best PC in the world, but it's not the worst. I did have success actually running just a dual core PC, but once you get into kind of heavier mixing and using more effects and more tracks, your computer kind of starts to die a little bit. And also now that I'm editing a lot of videos and stuff as well, yeah, this was the way to go. I'd love one of those new PCs with like new Intel i7 or something, like mega fast processors. But obviously money is an issue, and I'm getting, in my opinion, pretty damn good results now out of this system. So I see no reason for any major upgrades. One thing I would like I've said, is some better preamps. The ones in the Tascam are pretty good, but on vocals they're just a little bit kind of dry. I'd like something a bit warmer and a bit more vintage sounding, I guess, and maybe a compressor as well for tracking guitars, and of course a couple of other microphones, but we always want more mics. But that's about it. If you have any questions about signal path or anything like that I haven't managed to explain, please get in touch. Also, if any of you can recommend anything other than the obvious that I need, which is acoustic treatment in the mixing room, I definitely need to get that sorted soon. Then again, please get in touch. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps the few of you that have asked.